Welcome back. It's now time to talk about the creative sector. We like to talk about creative sector, and we'll try to bring in as many of the practitioners and professionals within that space. Today we have joining us actress and movie director Abesi Akhamie. She joins us right here in our Lagos studio. Thank you so much for coming, Abesi.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really, really excited to be here with you all. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm enjoying the Lagos weather. I like the heat, so I'm very well.
So how long have you been in Lagos?
This time around, just for this past month, I'm going to be leaving soon. I basically travel back and forth between here and the United States.
Okay, so you're based in the States?
I'm based here and there. So I'm both, I should say.
Okay, maybe you have to explain that. Where are you based? Let's be clear.
I'm based, okay, so when I'm in Lagos, when I'm in Nigeria, I'm in Lagos. When I'm in the United States, I'm near Washington, D.C. So if you're familiar, there's Northern Virginia is close to Washington, D.C.
So where is home?
Home is where the heart is. Where's home? Honestly, I feel like really home is Nigeria, to be honest with you, really. Whenever I come here, I just feel a sense of home, you know? But my parents are in the United States.
Okay.
So, but you know.
Were you born there?
No, actually, I was born in Germany.
Okay.
Heidelberg, Germany.
It's getting complicated.
It's all.
So do you speak German?
No.
So how do you feel being an international citizen? Do you feel sort of lost sometimes?
Yeah, I do. Maybe a little bit, but I'm very grounded in who I am. I know what my purpose is and what I'm doing. So I just travel. I'm here. I'm there. I try to be everywhere, but then I like to be grounded as well. So here's groundedness for me in some way. So
does it feel like, do you feel like, going back to what Bukola asked you, do you feel like a cultural orphan? So on one hand,
do you speak your local dialect?
She's not a U.S. citizen, perhaps, I don't know. And then you come to Nigeria, Nigerians are like, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. It makes for an interesting conversation. So what I tell people is, I was born in Germany. I don't speak any German. I am Nigerian American, so I'm in between this gray area. And there's a lot of people like us. Nigerian people travel, right? Out for years.
We're everywhere, by the way.
Everywhere. Where you would think there wouldn't be. There's a Nigerian there. We're very enterprising people. So a lot of times, even when I'm in the United States now, and you're in these rooms and spaces, it's 9 times out of 10, if you're seeing another Black person, it will be a Nigerian person. So we're just everywhere doing lots of cool and interesting things. So again, I like it. I like being this, I think that even the term is like a third citizen type of person, where you have parentage coming from another place, but you're living in a country.
And you're born somewhere else.
Yes, and so it's just like a very, a mix, and it's a mix of experiences, which inspires a lot of what I do creatively.
And you know what you said about being grounded in who I am resonates with me when I think about your film, for which you won TIFF at the Short Aspen Fest some years ago. Still, Stolen Water runs deep in Nigeria.
Yes, still water runs deep.
Yeah, so that's about Nigeria.
Yes.
It's a story around Nigeria. I want you to share that with us and the message, and you know what perhaps inspired that story for you.
Yeah, so I shot this short film in 2017, and so I brought a film crew, partially film crew from the United States. I was attending New York University at that time, and so we had to make a thesis project. And so I said, all right, it's now or never. I'm going to Nigeria. I'm going to film this in my family's place, in the village. It's safe, and people know me there, or they know the family name. So I had been inspired by this story because it was something similar that had happened to a distant relative. As it says in the film, that one of the lines in the film is that people leave Nigeria in search of greener pastures, or, you know, people may get involved into things not the most positive things, and people can just disappear. And you don't really know what happened to them. And so that's the basis for the inspiration for Still Water Runs Deep. I wanted to tell a story about a father that kind of has this very machismo, very strong, typical of just my experience as well too. Partly inspired by my family dynamics, and so I wanted to write a character that was very harsh in a sense, I would say, but also loving, but doesn't really show that emotion with his family or children of that sort. So in the event of a child going missing, that's when we see this steely resolve start to break and then crack. So I was just very interested in showing this character study, and thankfully a lot of people have received the film very well. It premiered at Toronto International Film Festival, and it won Best Student Short Film at Aspen Shorts Fest. And it's distributed by a French-German company, and it's available to watch on a few different platforms. And that was in 2017, so it's been some years that it's.
So when you do your movies, I know that you say it's not complicated, but you were born in Germany, you live in the US, you're from Nigeria, so let's leave it at that. With what bias, because we all have biases, do you look at your story? So, for instance, you're shooting this in Nigeria. When people want to shoot in Africa, they look at what they term apocalypse, famine, war, disease, and corruption. As though that's all we know and all we do, but we have very fantastic people, very fantastic places and landscapes. If you go to the US, for instance, there are loads of people that are homeless. There are loads of other things that you hardly see in films and portrayed. Using their soft power, they project what is their strength. But when it comes to ours and they want to shoot our films right here, they want to look at the things that make us look at like a charity case. Do you get conflicted when you want to tell our story? To be forced into that prism, so for acceptance or otherwise?
Yes. So especially when I was doing this film, as I didn't grow up in Nigeria, so I was very, very mindful and careful that I don't want to just tell a story that doesn't feel authentic, that people can't really relate to, or it just falls very flat. Because me, myself too, I don't particularly like to watch those types of stories all the time about famine and those sorts of things. It just, there's a lot more to just the diversity that we have in film. And so how I stay grounded is through my family. So when I had the script, my uncle read it, my dad read it, my aunts read it, and it was just feedback on, okay, this is how you're gonna say this. This is what this is going to translate to in our language. This is how it's going to be done. So I feel that was my line of defense and also my backbone going and shooting in my family's village. So yes, it's something that I take very seriously, telling authentic stories and knowing what my blind spots are. We're just all very diverse. So my family is from Edo State. That's different from somebody who's from the northern part of the country. So we're just a very diverse people. And so wanting to be authentic when telling stories, but then also not being afraid to go there too. At times, I understand that we do need to have stories about some of the social, economic issues that are happening in the country as well.
And speaking of diversity, you've since exited, or this is part of your storytelling ability. You're currently onto something else now. The sensational story of Seyi Ajayi, fiancé of Seyi Ajayi. Tell us about that one. Yeah,
so this is a great segue because this was I'm usually a very dramatic person. I just love to tell serious stories. And this one, The Incredible Sensational Fiancé of Seyi Ajayi, was a fun, comedic, what I like to call dramedy. It's a mix between a drama and comedy. That just kind of came and just hit me out of the blue, I would say, because again, I was used to doing drama stories. And it took me a little while to actually get on board doing it, because I was thinking, okay, this is just going to be so much work. I don't have the money. But then through encouragement of the people around me, I finally said, okay, I'm going to do this, and I have to raise the money and build a team, and we're going to do this story. So this one, again, is a short film, and it follows the story of a brilliant scholar who's known as Dr. Constance Mumi, and it takes place in this fictitious world. So it's inspired, it has a 60s type of vibe, it's very colorful, it's very bold, it's very vibrant. And so what happens in the story is that she's engaged to Shay Ajayi, and she discovers after 8 years of their engagement that he is engaged to another woman. But the thing that makes the crux of it is that he announces this engagement on TV. So he doesn't really tell her, and then when they meet up, he breaks up with her. And so instead of her just saying, woe is me, so sad, she decides that, you know what, I'm gonna go to his engagement and I'm going to take back my power by exposing him to his fiance and all these other people that he is a cheat. So it was, I'll definitely share the screener with you all if you're interested to watch.
Hold on. We're going to go back to your projects, but let's go back. let's
right?
Yes, yeah.
We're going to talk about your project, but let's go back to your person in growing up. You were born in Gem. Let's go back to that part again. Because the reason I'm interested, it has a way, your formative years plays a key role in how you perceive the world in terms of worldview and all of that, and how you interpret the world and internalize the world at the end of the day. So, where did you go to school? What were the challenges within that space? And what exactly, just walk us through that journey for a bit before we begin to ask for the questions.
Yeah, so again, I was born in Germany. I was there for a very short period of time. I was still an infant, a baby, by the time my parents returned back to the United States. And then from there, I went to school, primary school, middle school. I would say that a very big turning point for me was when my family moved from New Jersey to Virginia. And it was during that time that academics, I started this program called the IB program, and it was basically an international degree at that level for teenagers and kids. So that's where I started to meet all the other very academically minded students, rigorous, and I got to meet all of the people, I guess, who also come from immigrant backgrounds as well. And so there, during that time, I discovered in high school my love for film and filmmaking. I didn't really know what it was, but I was just like, I was making short films for school assignments. So they would give you a choice, you know. So I was very ambitious, and I would put together films to talk about, I don't know, biology, cell development, and those sorts of things. And I was like, okay, maybe I actually could do something like this. And so I went to George Mason University for communications, media communications, which was a great degree for me. But I knew that I wanted to go to a very prestigious master's program. So I was like, well, if I can't get to New York, if I can't go to Harvard or Yale, okay, let me just do this small thing here for undergrad. So I went to George Mason University, got that degree, and I said, for my master's degree, I'm going to get what I really want to get, which is I want to get my degree in film. So I went to New York University, which is rated as the #1 film program, master's degree program in the United States as of like this year. And I went there, and then that's how I started making, of course, having to make more work. That's how I made my thesis film, Stillwater Runs Deep, that I shot here. And through all of that, I look back, I'm truly grateful for everything that I've been able to accomplish. I've produced films in Senegal and Uganda, and just I've always been very ambitious, driven, wanting to do more, to learn more, and just really, I know it sounds cliche, but the sky is the limit. There's just so much to learn, and there's so much room to grow. So, and to your question, I had a pretty rigorous academic upbringing, and you all know, I guess, with parents.
Nigerian parents.
Yeah. So
Are they really Nigerian parents in the Nigerian parents sense? Do you know what I just meant? Do you know what I mean by that?
The Nigerian, say it again?
Are they really Nigerian parents in the Nigerian parents sense of being a Nigerian parents?
So I will say.
Do you get that?
Yeah. I mean, people have said that the Nigerian parents, the ones that have left Nigeria and are raising kids outside of Nigeria, are even tougher. People are surprised when I tell them that.
Oh, really?
Yes. People are surprised when I tell them that during the summers, my dad brought seeds from the village where he grew up to make soup, egusi soup. That leaf he took and he grew in the backyard. Almost every African parent in the US has some form of a garden. So he grew those plants, and guess who had to pick them? Pick them, wash them, clean them, freeze them.
You.
Yeah. Yes, we did it. So people are like, oh, what did you eat there in the United States? Do you know what groundnut soup is? Do you know what egusi is? Do you know what okra soup is? And it's like, what do you think that we were eating? Of course. Yes. Oh, my dad, actually, maybe I got the shorter end of the half of it. My dad is Nigerian, my mom is American. So that's how you get the Nigerian American. So my dad really pushed us, really. I mean, he is still to this day very, very academically driven, he wants me to get my PhD. I don't know about that though. I don't know about that. So yeah, I feel like people, they're tough.
Shout out to your father and your mother.
Yeah.
Your father is representing us, so I'm very comfortable with that because we don't play.
No.
Nigerian fathers don't play like that.
No, at all. I think, yes, but I kid you not, people are actually surprised that you picked up this or you know this, but for me too, there was also an interest. Okay, I didn't have necessarily an interest as a kid to grow up picking leaves and, washing them and cutting them and doing all those things, but I always had an interest in the culture. And then I also see myself as somebody who can help in preserving the culture. The things that I'm interested in, I'm hoping to bring it into film, write it into stories, just keep maintaining the culture, keep documenting, because it's very, very fascinating. And so I feel like a lot of people don't understand and know the value of what we have.
Let me give you the title of a movie, Egusi Soup, Virginia Branch.
Oh my goodness.
That influence is evident in your own academic journey. Your bio says here that you're a creative culture fellow at the Jacob Byrne Film Center. And of course, you've also received an MFA in film from the Tisch School of Arts at the New York University. That's correct, right?
Yes.
Amongst others. But let's go into the business of filmmaking proper now. Speaking of which, there seems to be a growing community of A-list Nigerian actors and actresses in diaspora. A lot of them have relocated. I want you to talk to us about this community and why it seems to be a bit difficult for them to break even into mainstream filmmaking in their communities where they are. What we find is that every time there has to be an ambitious film project, they come back home. So you are there, you're based in New York, right? So tell us about the filmmaking community there.
Yes, so I love talking about this because there, as you said, there are a growing number of Nigerian hyphens, as I like to call them, Nigerian British, Nigerian American, Nigerian Canadian. And these people are, again, driven, have that mind of excellency, driving to do these, be in these creative fields. So Cynthia Erivo, who we just are seeing now, is in Wicked. We're seeing John Boyega, who was just here for AFRIF earlier this month. And so I think to your question, are you asking why are they not working here more? Or
why are they not working there more? You know, we see, what's her name now? The Kenyan American actress, you know, she seems to be growing in Hollywood. Lupita Nyong'o, growing in Hollywood, getting more roles. And we could mention quite a number of, you know, other African American actors, you know, growing there. But that is not necessarily the story when it comes to Nigerian actors who have, you know, migrated.
Okay, yeah, so I would say, I mean, we know that the Hollywood is very gate-kept, first and foremost. So it is quite difficult for someone, let's say for an example, homegrown talent here in Nigeria to now migrate and go to the United States, Hollywood. It's not even to say that they can migrate to Canada or the UK to do film work there. The industry, the well-known industry that we know is Hollywood. So they would want to go there. But I think people may not realize how difficult it is. So some of the big names that we see, like Uzo, and also you just mentioned Lupita, I mentioned Cynthia, there's John Boyega, there's David Oyelowo, there's those sorts of people. Yeah, those ones we're seeing, they are funneling through Hollywood. So Chiwetel, for an example, is based in the UK. And you see him doing a lot of work in Hollywood. And that's because that's where the industry is. So,
but those ones that you have mentioned were mostly born there, you know, so they are not necessarily migrants, you know, from home who have just settled over there.
But also, too, it's still very difficult for them.
Even for them.
I would say so, and I think based off of their experiences, at the end of the day, there's still not as many roles for Black people in these spaces in Hollywood. Although we are seeing progression and progress, there's also, when we see progress, it sometimes can feel like we take 2 steps forward and then we take 5 steps back. And so, yeah, I would say that, interestingly, I think that a lot of people who are actors there who are Nigerian hyphens want to come to Nigeria to do work.
Really?
Yes. And I think it's one of those things where I say, like, we don't realize what we have here. Nollywood is the 3rd largest industry in the world. And yes, it comes with the issues of any big industry that there is, but there's so many watchers. People are drawn to just, I don't know what you might call this, Nigerian bravado. People are interested in seeing and listening to the stories. And it's not just Nigerians in the diaspora, it's Africans in the diaspora. And people are catching on just in the way that we're seeing the explosion of Afrobeats music. So I think it means something for people, for people who are of Nigerian heritage abroad to come back home to now star in, to now collaborate with talent here. And it just means something special.
Okay, we're going to explore this conversation, but not today. We're totally out of time. But in 30 seconds, what are you doing next?
Yes.
What's up?
Thank you for that question. So
30 seconds.
Next is I'm developing this short film into a series. So people are asking, oh my gosh, it was too short. Yes, working on it. This was always supposed to be a proof of concept for a series, so 10 episodes. And myself and team, we would love to shoot it here in Nigeria and bring together a international cast and crew.
Okay. We didn't have the time to ask you, how does it feel to work with Nigerian actors and all of that? But Abesi Akhamie, actress, movie director. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great.
Absolutely. All right, we will take a quick break. When we come back, I hope you have your workout gear. Our coach is right here to help us out. And I'm here as well to do what I love to do. Stay with us.